matter whether you're the hottest guy outside in the world. It doesn't matter if you're the hottest girl. It doesn't matter if you have 300,000 followers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Right now, it's about what's in your head. If that's the lesson I want to teach you, like, look, I'll pick money every time.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book. You don't want time in this. We're gonna get it. Woo, woo, woo. We're gonna talk about, listen, Too Hot to Handle, episode 2. We're gonna give you guys a little snippet of Matt and Kelz. Listen, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the what? Uploads. And for those of you returnees, you ain't got the minerals, you ain't got the minerals. We're going to talk to you guys about Kelz and Matt, and we're going to talk about the psychology of conformity. Yes. Oh, so beautiful. Episode day 2, we've got the team. Everyone's been notified that, listen, no kissing, no touching, no sexing, none of this kind of stuff, right, can go on, right? None of this stuff can go on, yeah? Now, we get a scene at the poolside where we see Matt and Kelz sitting, laying back, chilling and talking. I want you to be very, very clear here. Watch this. The very first thing you need to notice before you even notice body language is the fact that Matt and Kelz are without any bodies. They are without any woman at the moment that they're really deep into at the moment. Yeah, Kelz already said, listen, he's going to be the one that's going to allow people to come to him. And Jesus guy said, listen, fam, you know, no one's really fitted his bloke just yet. Do you understand? So both of these people are saying the same thing, but it's very important to understand their position. When it comes to a group social setting, right, and in implementing certain social rules, okay, there needs to be enforcers. Now, these enforcers can't be anybody. The enforcers must have some type of pull and some type of influence, sphere of influence within the group. Now, Kelz' influence is the fact his size. The fact that he's big, black, muscly, and he can articulate himself, and he's funny. You understand? This gives him an ability to take alpha male roleship, right? Now you got Matt, his commander, but behind at his side as well. Yeah, not the hedge guy, but he's got the little flair to him, and he's principled. Yeah, that's the key thing about it. Principled. He can chill with Kelz on this one. Cool. Now these two are discussing the issue of the fact that, you know, this 100K grand and the fact that you know, breaking the rules, etc., etc. Now, what?
They put on the planet, for example, right? And suddenly, everyone that's amazing because their own little superpowers suddenly gets told, by the way, on this planet, none of you guys have superpowers. You have to understand is this: in Asch's psychology conformity, right? It talks about the fact that people, you know, oftentimes will go with the consensus of the group. So even though they were outside of the group, when they come into the group, in order for them to fit in, they conform to the society's rules or conform to the society's decision making. Even if they disagreed at the time, even if they didn't agree, he was still obviously. The person will still conform because they want to what? Be part of the group, right? And so what these guys are talking about now, Kelz goes on to say, listen, hey, look, you know, this island is like putting all the superheroes on a planet and stripping them of their powers, but says it's all about what's in your head. Now, this is very interesting for me. Your powers, what are your powers? You see, again, there's a huge focus on sex being your power. That means you're dealing with people, so there's only two things here. Either you're dealing with people on a very shallow format, these people themselves are shallow, and all they can offer you is a shell. Or two, you've been robbing. And what I mean by robbing, it means this. In an interchange in sex between parties, right, there is always a hidden agenda or expectation that comes at it, yeah? Now, oftentimes what happens is people hide their expectations and then so that they don't get hurt. So let's say, for instance, you go into someone, you think they're attractive, you have sex. Now, one of you at least, yeah, one of you at least is expecting something from this particular aspect. It doesn't necessarily mean you expect it to come out right away, but you expect that you're not giving your body for free. No, you're not giving your body for free. No, 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 no. And if you are giving your body for free, then there's a mental disconnect between your body and your emotions and your mind and the way that it... Because look, the whole point of sex is that you get desired and you get wanted. You understand? But when you have a twisted understanding of being desired and wanted, then you abuse your body. Do you understand? So for guys to be on an island to say that this is our superhero is sex, basically, it means that, listen, nothing else is really contributed here. If sex is your only weapon of choice, then that means there's a lack of ability to communicate in any other foundation or way or intimate way. Do you understand? Because that's your superpower. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that I always say this, like sex is like the cream on top of the pudding. It's like the extra that you have, the bonus. Do you understand? Because you should already be connected mentally, physically, emotionally, experientially, spiritually. You know, you should be connecting on those levels first before you get to sex. If sex is your superpower, then does that mean that you've got nothing else to offer? Now he said obviously it's about what's in your head. And I'm interested to find out how this is going to play out. What is actually in people's heads?
I'm upset if anyone messes with money. I would be extremely upset. Like, even if you have to like escort people to the toilets, especially the guys. So the K.
And then Kelz obviously is hot on anybody breaking the rules. Like I said, when it comes to social conformity, you need somebody who's going to be an alpha male or alpha woman, what you want to call it, in the group in order to keep order. You understand? And the way that they keep order is the fact that people respect them or fear them. You understand? Or give them reverence. Do you know what I'm saying? Because either they feel like they are a trusted, wise individual, so they trust their wisdom, or they fear the consequence of that person's wrath. And so we see that later on when old boy Harry comes into the group and begins to tell the boys lies about how, you know, it was Francesca that kissed him first. Do you understand? Which he admitted to lying. But because of the fact that you know, you have to have one of those two things working at the time. Like I said, you have to have one of those two things working at a time: reverence or fear. Do you understand? That's how we often operate. Or there's a corporation because there's an corporation. There's corporation or cooperation, whatever you want to call it. Because there's a desired goal that everybody wants to reach, right? Which is 100K. So natural leadership tends to try and insert itself to steer the ship towards that goal. So if something's goal orientated, what happens is people naturally, especially men, look for the alpha to be able to take control of the reins to guide them towards that goal when it's a team effort thing. Do you understand? And so what Kelz is doing is providing that leadership for the team role. All right? And I already said this because of his size and physique. And then Kelz made a very good point. He said, listen, when you tell people not to break the rules, they want to break it more. And this is why. You know, the Bible talks about the fact that the law was given unto man to showcase to man that we are that we are fallible and that we are weak to our desires. We give in to our desires. No one is perfect. No one's righteous. No one searches for God. No one's going to get to heaven at this rate because none of us are good. Do you understand? And the law shows you that. And that's what the Bible says. If we break one law, we're a lawbreaker of all. So it's very important to see that because you know, once you put a law on somebody, that person, they don't have the nature to be able to complete. So the Bible says that the law was given unto us, but we can only complete this law when we are also spiritual, because the law is what? Spiritual. See, that's why us as human beings on a natural psychological level, we break laws, because the law that we're trying, the man that we've been given, right, has this flesh, and this flesh has sin in it, and sin desires what sin desires. Yeah? When we say sin, that means this particular agent, I want to put it, make it simple, this agent or force or poison in your system that always guides you towards this particular behavior. It always guides you towards rebellion. That's why the Bible says that, though I want to do what I want to do, I find myself struggling. I keep doing other things. So though you want to do, that's why you do some good, and then you're going to do some bad. That's why you tell the truth here, but they're going to lie over there. It's because the human nature has been conditioned to rebel. It's Adam and Eve.
Yeah, right now. It's like having little kids, isn't it? The more you tell them not to do something, the more likely they are going to do something. Yeah. And so it's like, so easily could that become a power move, you know?
So I'm talking about Kelz and Matt. Kelz and Matt can only enforce the law here in this particular surroundings, so long as they stay above it. But even when they stay above it, because they have friendship ties, they are going to be unable to stand in their righteous position the whole time. This is why men, it's why the Bible says that talks about that no one is good. Do you understand? And this is why no one's perfect, because eventually your ties, your friendships, your loyalty to people will cause you to sin. It will cause you to break your own law. It will cause you to break God's law. So when we see in this particular villa where Kelz is talking about no one should be kissing, it's okay now to say those things. Yeah, it's a bit like your dad that's always complaining about don't leave your slippers in the house, don't leave your slippers in the living room, don't leave your slippers in the living room. And then one day he leaves it. What do? You attack him. Oh, you've left your slippers in the living room, haven't you? Because when that person's consistently hitting you with righteous law, what happens is the moment they fall, you hit them. That's why God is perfect. He doesn't never fall. So when Kelz is saying this and Matt's saying this, I'm saying to you like, look, so long as they don't have a girl, as long as they don't get with a girl, they're going to be fine. They won't feel no temptation. Do you get what I'm saying? And they won't be able to understand. This is why it's so important. You see, so long as Kelz and Matt stand on the outside, they will never understand the full temptation of what's going on.
Better for the overall, a group should outweigh your personal needs every single time. It's like self-sacrifice. It's not easy for anyone to just go an extended period of time without any sexual release. That is not a simple task.
And so the Bible says that we have a high priest called Jesus who has come down from heaven to come to here and experience every temptation we felt. So we have a God that knows what we've gone through. I know I'm preaching, plus I'm giving you some psychology. So here, Kelz and Matt will never be able to understand the group and never really have full understanding of what goes on until they're in the same position. Do you get what I'm saying? So watch it. Halfway through the group, through the situation, people will kind of turn on Matt and Kelz because of the fact that you've never experienced what you're saying. You're talking about obviously staying away from kissing and all that kind of stuff, but you yourself have not experienced this. You don't know how hard it is. Do you understand? Cool. Second part is this: even if they never have a girl unto the end, watch what's going to happen. You understand? Because then you become when you don't get a girl, you become that self-righteous person, and you have to nuke everything. You have to be on top of everything. You have to say everything. You become that annoying person. And that can cause isolation in the group. Like, do you know what? Let's rebel against this person because they're always telling us what to do. Do you understand? Even though it's the right thing to do, you can have a rebellion on your hands just because everyone else is not following the rules, but you are. It's tight. I'm telling you. It's tight. So yeah, I want to leave it there. So listen guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hey, remember, think before you do, yeah? Don't do before you think. Otherwise you'll be thinking about what you're doing. I appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. Watch out for another point. We're going to do Rhonda and Sharon. I appreciate you guys.